Here we go. We have Mr. Syam Kumar on the line with the keynote speaking on the title Brand Leadership. I may introduce Mr. Syam Kumar is the CEO of Texila American University, Guyana, and a brief introduction about him is like Mr. Kumar brings more than 20 years of experience in the international higher education and offshore medical school sector. He was instrumental in the establishment of multiple Caribbean medical schools and served in various capacities, including as a chief functional financial officer and vice president. In his early career days, he also worked with the Bank of America as a business analyst in the wealth and investment management team. Mr. Syam's experience like higher education includes finance, admission, accreditation, and operation. Mr. Kumar completed his MS from Texas A&M University, USA, and MBA from Bharatiya University, India. He is also certified accreditation compliance officer from the Distance Education and Training Council, USA. I will request Mr. Syam Kumar on the stage. Please share your screen, sir.
Thank you, Rakesh, and thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. I want to welcome all the viewers and members of the Texila International Conference to this discussion. And welcome once again for this wonderful opportunity created by Texila. And I'm excited to be part of this, as well as to know more about the other speakers coming in the next couple of days. Well, welcome all of you once again for this discussion on brand leadership. Now, again, as Mr. Rakesh mentioned, my name is Syam Kumar. I'm the CEO of Texila American University. I've been in the higher education / business development / marketing area for the last almost 20 years. And the brand leadership is one topic that has enticed me a lot. I've written a couple of articles on brand leadership. What is the impact of brand leadership in the present day business arena? How has companies developed brand leadership during the time of pandemic? That is an interesting aspect of the discussion that we will cover during our discussion today. Now, brand leadership is a terminology that often gets confused with leadership brand. Now, these are two separate things. Leadership brand is when you are a leader in an organization, how you brand yourself, how you position yourself, how you see yourself, how you want others to perceive yourself in an organization is essentially a leadership brand, where you as a leader brand yourself. You do a lot of training activities, you do presentations, you do meetings, you want to be the go-getter. How you position yourself in an organization is called leadership brand. Even if when you do a simple Google search in brand leadership, the most common thing that comes up is leadership brand. So let's just put it this way. These are entirely two separate things. Brand leadership is different. Leadership brand is different. Now, what is brand leadership? Brand leadership is, if you are a brand, how do you achieve the leadership status for your branding activities in a specific market segment is called brand leadership. So again, I'm just making it very clear. These are entirely two separate things. Brand leadership refers to the campaigns and the plans that a product make, whereas leadership brand is an individual or a leadership role in an organization who tries to promote himself or herself for the benefit of the organization. Now, this is the definition of brand leadership. Brand leadership refers to the techniques and strategies that organizations use to market a product or a service. Usually, the brand leader is a best-selling product or service, and one that is recognized in a certain market segment. So again, back to what I said earlier, it is the techniques and strategies that an organization use to market a product or service. Now, during the course of this presentation, I will be using a lot of examples on how some of the successful companies and organizations have done brand leadership. Many of my examples are relevant to the US market. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas, where Texila has an office. So many of my examples are in relevance to the US market. However, I'm sure it will resonate to some of you, or at least most of you, because these brands are all very popular international brands also. Now, what are we going to cover today? We're going to cover 4 relevant topics on how to achieve a brand leadership. So we are going to talk about 4 key topics today: embracing bold and disruptive innovation. Innovation is one thing that will make companies a brand leader. A lot of companies that we can take as an example, which I will go in more detail when we talk about innovation. Creating an authentic brand voice, Authentic brand voice is being authentic in your communication, what you represent, what you are trying to portray, or how do you want others to see you or perceive you as a product is what you should communicate in your product, in your messages. That is what we mean by creating an authentic brand voice. Building brand leadership. We'll talk about some techniques, how a lot of companies have built brand leadership. And then lastly, we'll talk about emotionally connecting with customers to enhance loyalty and drive growth. Now, this is one key aspect that is getting a lot of prominence in the present day. We all want to emotionally connect with the customers, trying to convey messages that resonate with them. You have seen ads where we have seen, elderly parents having a problem, and the technology solves a problem, and then children are happy. There's a lot of ways in which campaigns and messages try to emotionally connect with customers to enhance loyalty and drive growth. Now let's look at all these things one by one. Embracing bold and disruptive innovation. To stay competitive in today's market, companies must think like a disruptor, investing both in the innovation that sustain their business and the new revenue streams that can defend against potential competitors. If you towards the right hand side, you can see I have presented an image of a few paper planes going in circles, and if you see that as a product environment, and you can see one that is shooting right through it, a paper plane. Now, this is what you mean by innovation. When everybody is going in one direction, or rather disruptive innovation. Extremely disruptive in a sense. When everybody is going in one direction, one person decides to think about in a separate direction. There are a lot of examples in the present day of companies who have been very disruptive with innovation. For some companies, this could mean enabling, embracing the bold leadership necessary for transforming their core business. Now, I can give you so many examples. One that that comes to my mind is Netflix. I'm not sure if many of you know, many years ago, this is when 2004-5 time, or 2002-3 time is probably when Netflix was launched. Netflix used to be a company who would mail you your DVDs that you want to your home. You can watch the movie and send the DVDs back. So, I can go online, or I can even call them and say, hey, I want this movie. If you have it, you will send the movie to me, and then I watch the movie, and it comes with a prepaid label to send the movie back. And you would send the DVD back to the Netflix company, and they used to circulate the DVDs. This was their business model. Well, one fine day, they decided to change the entire world on how the movie viewing experience is for people. They launched this the way the Netflix is right now, with on-demand videos and movies, and that was essentially an disruptive innovation that changed the scope of the way people watch TVs and shows and movies now. So look at where Netflix is now. That's a great example of disruptive innovation. For some others, staying ahead of the curve while minimizing cost will remain adopting lean production techniques that enable quick testing and iteration of using open innovation to leverage intelligence of the crowd. So again, a simple example is given towards right. For a lot of companies, disruptive innovations purely means maybe not being innovative in coming up with a product plan or anything, just by reinventing your own techniques to come up with outcome that is similar to the way it was before, but a lean production or lean manpower system. If you look at the image on the right hand side, you can see the three emojis or three people, and the weight of one person with a bright thought is much bigger. It's weighing much more than the other three put together. So again, another example of innovation. So innovation does not always have to be product oriented. It can be your own organization where you come up with a small technique or a small change of plan that minimize your cost and help you sustain, help you survive in the market. Now, this is about bold and disruptive innovation. And next, I will show a couple of examples. These are a couple of disruptive innovation in higher education. Again, I myself coming from a higher education background, I thought it is relevant to put some examples. Khan Academy, I'm not sure if you heard about Khan Academy. Google Khan Academy when you get a chance. If you have not heard about it, it is one of the first YouTube-oriented training platform. The gentleman's name is Salman Khan. Definitely not the Indian actor Salman Khan, but he used to teach his nephew math classes, face to face. And eventually, when when YouTube as a platform came up, he decided to post his videos in YouTube, and then it just became famous. Now Khan Academy is working with a lot of schools in the US. Coursera is another example. Byju's, you might all have heard about Byju's, and Byju's is even popular in the US market now. University of Phoenix, when you talk about online education, online degree programs, online higher education especially, the first name that comes to your mind is University of Phoenix. University of Phoenix is one of the largest online education provider in the US, and I would say one of the pioneer in this segment. They are the ones who revolutionized the entire online higher education model. So these are a couple of examples of how disruptive innovation has changed the way the messages have changed, how some of these companies have been able to achieve the brand leadership model in their specific market segment. Now let's look at a few other examples from other industry. Tesla, a great example, revolutionized electric car segment. Uber, well, completely revolutionized the way we think about taxis. Now it's easy from your phone. You can make through the app. You can make a reservation. They come and pick you up. Google, I'm not sure if many of you remember the days of Yahoo and MSN search. Google has completely changed it. Airbnb, Netflix, Apple, Amazon, these are all great examples of organizations who have essentially been very disruptive in their innovation, and in the process, they achieved brand leadership, and in the process, they are market leaders. Creating an authentic brand voice. Now, this is another way or technique that companies use to achieve brand voice. In the ad, I've shown an ad of Harley Davidson. Now, if you look at the Harley Davidson campaign, and this is very similar to all any high-end cruiser motorcycles. From an Indian context, you can take maybe Enfield Bullet as an example. They have a rugged feel to it. They have, Harley Davidson campaigns. If you look at it, very dark, very rugged look to it. You can, even if you see the few bikes that are kept on the background, and you can see it's probably kept you can see mountains on the background. So it's a rugged feeling to it. And they are very authentic in their brand voice. So brand voice refers to the personality and emotion infused into a company's communication. It encompasses everything from the words and language you use to the personality and image your marketing assets aim to involve. So this product is aimed at probably the middle-aged American audience who like to be a little bit rough and tough in their lifestyle on a daily basis. That is what this message of Harley Davidson is aimed to achieve. Now, this is what companies should do. What do you want to portray is what you should have in your messages. Now, again, breaking it down, brand leader as an example, how does a brand leader look like? You have seen, let's say you get together with your friends in a party, but often you come across this one guy, who has a little bit of leadership skills in him, but he tends to steal the show. He talks nicely. He has all the nice stories to tell you. He presents himself professionally or nicely. People get around to talk to him. I've seen it happening in marriages. I've seen it happening in family get-togethers. There's this one uncle who is nice and talking, and everybody gets excited hearing from him. That is a brand leader. That is what is called brand leadership. Now, 7 areas to focus on in building a brand leadership. One is professional appearance. While you are building your brand leadership campaigns, professional appearance is essentially the key to one of the success. You have to look nice, feel nice, convey your messages in a very nice and proper way. That is at most important. It is like brand leadership 001. The first thing that you should do while you're trying to achieve brand leadership is professional appearance. Second is quality. A lot of companies have come across or have been brand leaders in their segment purely because of the quality of their products. If you remember, or if some of you at least remember, in the 90s and 80s, Sony used to stand for good quality products. Sony was extremely quality oriented. It was very expensive too, but there were a lot of buyers for Sony. If you are buying a foreign produced TV or VCR back in the days, or even a DVD player, it was always Sony. Even when Sony came up with a laptop called Vaio at some point in time, Sony it was perceived at superior quality, and it was the price was quite expensive for Sony laptops at that time, purely because it was seen as superior in its quality. Reputation, another example. I know companies like Mercedes and BMW stand for reputation, even if their cars are not the best of quality. Now, there might be some haters when I say this, but Mercedes-Benz and BMW are vehicles. They're not meant to last long. If you compare your from a US perspective, Toyota or Honda, or some of these cars, they are meant to last very long. A Mercedes or a BMW will probably last nice for 70,000 miles, and beyond that, it's not going to last. Whereas a Toyota will last for 150 to 200,000, almost double the life. However, it is a reputation, it is a brand value that brings a lot of value for this product. And again, one reason why, of course, there are premium products and so on and so on. That also adds more value to it. But reputation is one factor that stands out in building your brand leadership. Authority is, I am strong, I'm in this market, this is who I am. That is the kind of a message that a lot of companies try to portray. Again, taking earlier example of Harley Davidson, that is exactly what they're trying to convey in their messages. Reliable, I gave an example of Toyota Motors, is an excellent example of a company that focuses on reliability and thereby creating its own unique brand voice. As one of Toyota's tagline says, the best built cars in the world, which it is. Toyota is one of the automobile giants, and the cars are seen as far superior in quality compared to most of other products. Now, you might have seen again, purely from an Indian context, there was a time when I remember after the Maruti days, the first car that came into the market was Cielo. And Cielo came and just went like that. Hyundai Cielo, I think that was the name of the company, came and just went like that because of they were not purely reliable. That is a simple reason. And we have seen other vehicles come and go, like the Chevrolet, a classic example, unreliable vehicles which affected their brand leadership and eventually did not do well in the market at all. Whereas Maruti Suzuki, a great example of reliable vehicle that you can take to anywhere in India, is another example. So again, from a US perspective, Toyota is a classic example of reliability that has been synonymous with Toyota cars, and which eventually helped Toyota becoming a market leader and a reliable product. Being responsive. Now, being responsive to customers and their problems is another area to focus while building a brand voice. Amazon is a good example of responsiveness exhibited by a company. Now, what do you mean by responsiveness? For example, if I'm an Amazon customer, if I buy something from Amazon, something is not right with Amazon or the product that I received, I can quickly call Amazon or just chat with Amazon. They'll come there and support you. So they are being very responsive. If there's a delay in a product delivery, you message them, or they will even contact you, and they take responsibility to ensure that you get served or you get the right product at the right time. So that kind of a responsive is important to convey a good brand voice. And one of the key factors that I consider in all these 7 areas of focus in building a brand leadership is opportunities. You have to look for opportunities. During the pandemic, there are a lot of online food companies that increased value and revenue by 100% to 500%. Instacart is a very famous online food delivery company in the US, which significantly increased its revenue base and thereby the value of the organization to 500% during pandemic, because they saw an opportunity, they utilized the opportunity, and they created a brand voice and eventually became the brand leader in that segment. And it's still working, even though we are, at least in the US perspective, the pandemic system is coming to an end slightly. It's still working. Instacart is still in the market, and they're probably the largest online grocery delivery company in the US now. Moving on, the last part of the discussion focuses on emotionally connecting with customers to enhance loyalty and drive growth. Now, how do you, this is one area where a lot of products and companies are focusing right now. Connect with your customers, connect with people as much as you can. Send messages in such a way that you can freely communicate, you can connect with, you understand their perspective and put you in their shoe and communicate messages. And that is what we mean by emotionally connecting with customers to enhance loyalty and drive growth. Empathy. Being empathetic provides solutions to their problems. For example, and you have seen campaigns where ads where, taking an example of Asian Paints as an ad, you have a problem, and then the brand or the manufacturer comes with a solution to your problem. You put yourself in their shoes. They have a severe problem in their family. They have a severe health problem. Being very empathetic, somebody is being supportive, and then you come with a solution. So empathy is key for emotionally connecting with customers. Authenticity. Convey the actual reality of the product or message. Earlier, back in the days, you will see a lot of ads which is very flamboyant, which will be very colorful, very hi-fi, and talk about information stuff that is beyond, unbelievably realistic. But that has gone these days. Most of the ads, the messages that come out these days are more authentic. They tell you exactly what it is. Again, in marketing and messaging style is quite different from the Indian perspective and the US perspective. In India, you still have this, big campaigns where we talk about a lot of big things. Whereas in US, it's simple. If you want to say something, come out, say this thing right in your face, finish. It's very authentic in the messages. Caring attitude. Now, I want to take an example of Hancock Bank. Again, sorry if I'm using quite a few US as an examples, but I think it will relate to a lot of us. Many years ago, this has probably happened in 2002 and 2003 time period. Katrina was a disaster that happened to the US. It was a hurricane, and that devastated one of the major states of the US called Louisiana. And Louisiana capital, New Orleans, was significantly affected during Katrina. People were on the streets, houses were flooded, shops were flooded, a lot of things going on, a lot of loot going on, a lot of problems going on, high security problems. During that time, Hancock Bank had a few branches in New Orleans. You know what they did? People were struggling to find ends meet. People were in the street. They did not have any means of even buying food, because they had to just essentially run away from their home, leaving everything inside. So Hancock Bank employees decided to take money or cash from their bank wallets and distribute it to people without no paperwork, no documentation. Decided to distribute some of them as much as possible, make entries in the register, and give money to people. Now this is the year 2002, where everything technology was possible, but they did not do that. They didn't wait for it. They supported people. Now, as per the bank information, 85% of this money was recovered, where people eventually went ahead and gave the money back to the bank. In the process, Hancock became one of the leading providers of auto loans and mortgage loans in the state of Louisiana. So that is the impact that had in while they were trying to emotionally connect with customers by showing a caring attitude. Connect with your customers whenever possible. Use messages that connect with customers. I've given Jeep ad as an example, very similar to how Harley Davidson ads are. There is a look and feel to the individuals who have these kind of flavors. Jeep is essentially a Jeep Wrangler, actually, or there's a Mahindra. I forgot the model name. Very similar to Jeep. Jeep Wrangler is synonymous with off-roading or a rugged feeling. Now their campaigns will look like that, and people who go for off-road, or if that is one of their passion, they have certain personality and they have certain style in them. That is what they like. Now the messages that the companies try to portray will try to resonate with these kind of messages. So connect with your customers whenever possible. Third is storytelling. University of Phoenix bedtime story and Find Your Wings ad. Again, I'm taking an example from the US, but if any of you get a chance, Google Find Your Wings ad from University of Phoenix. Now, University of Phoenix, when this is many years ago, when they were becoming very prominent in their ad campaigns and in their presence in the US in online education delivery, they came up with this ad. The ad is all about a child is reading a bedtime story. Bedtime story is about about a young woman, young girl who wants to learn to fly, and there is a phoenix bird that comes to teach the girl how to fly. Initially, it tries to help the girl try to take initial steps, not being able to do anymore. Then it comes with more and more support, and eventually the bird is able to fly. Now, in the background, University of Phoenix shows the mother of the same baby, who initially was working very hard, struggling very hard, does not have enough education to get a promotion in life or move on with career. And then comes University of Phoenix, where they try to provide this person with extra opportunities to learn. Even after the late hours, this lady sits and learns, eventually get a certificate and gets a promotion. So these two stories goes hand in hand. The phoenix bird helping another bird to fly, and the story of this mother of the same child who is trying to pursue higher education, eventually go in life. Now that's a beautiful story. I really urge any of you to see this ad if possible. Search in YouTube, it's available, and just Google Find Your Wings. This is a classic example of how an effective storytelling and the impact it can have on your mind. In the present day, customer service through social media, another way of reaching out to people. It's very common practice in US now. If you have a problem and you're not able to reach the company, go to their Facebook page, type a message, and somebody will reach out to you. Customer service in social media is becoming so prominent these days, or has become so prominent these days, that it is one avenue where people reach out to organizations or products and reach for services. So that is one area where companies can be very aggressive, and which will increase the reliability. And that is one more area how people can emotionally connect with customers to enhance loyalty and drive growth. Now, I just want to quickly recap the 4 topics that we looked upon today in today's discussion. Embracing bold and disruptive innovation. We talked about Netflix, Uber, some of these companies who were quite disruptive in their plans, which essentially earned them the role of brand leaders in their own segment, creating an authentic brand voice. Ali, there was another example we gave. How do you communicate? Being very authentic in what you try to do. Another example. Building a brand leadership. We talked about 7 tips on building brand leadership. We talked about professional appearance, quality, reputation, authority, reliability, responsive, and opportunity. Then we talked about how to emotionally connect with customers to enhance loyalty and growth, empathy, authenticity, caring attitude, connect with customers, storytelling, and customer service to social media. Finally, to sum it up, brand leadership is a tool that can get your business ahead of your competitors when wielded with right resources. Maximize on improving your brand image. This will have respect, and that makes it sell itself. Now, brand leadership is a topic that is very vast, very interesting, and I urge all the listeners in the group to spend some time, do a search. It's a very interesting topic, brand leadership. You can see a lot of examples. And I've only picked a few examples and few ways in which companies can achieve brand leadership. There are very many opportunities. So if you are a marketing enthusiast, this is the topic that is going to be the most exciting aspect for you. Look at how some of the companies achieve brand leadership. There are a lot of stories, a lot of case studies, and how companies have achieved brand leadership. And I urge all of you to spend some time, read about this. If you're a marketing person, this is a must and go-to topic, and spend some time. Any questions, any thoughts you might have, even beyond this discussion, please feel free to reach out to me. I've written a couple of articles on brand leadership also. We can discuss, again, a topic that excites me quite a bit. And I'm open for any thoughts and suggestions from any one of you. Thank you very much. If there are questions, I'll be more than happy to take. Thank you, Rakesh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation.
Again, if anybody's interested more to discuss in this topic, find me in LinkedIn, or even Rakesh can give you my email, or the presenters or Texila Conference can give email. We are more than happy to talk about it more and more, spend a lot of time on this interesting topic.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your time, sir. We can close this speaker presentation, and have a great day, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rakesh, and all the best to the entire Texila team once again for this wonderful show. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.